Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, and this is the episode I've probably been waiting for a very long time. Elizabeth, you know, we've been trying to do something with Blue Ribbon for a long time, and on this tour of NYC, we are hitting the Blue Ribbon Downing Street Wine Bar, and I'm super pumped because this spot is not only ridiculously radul, but they have a really interesting concept because this is a wine bar. We've been doing restaurants, but this is a wine bar, and they do groups, so you can get these little 3-section groups. And of course, as soon as I saw, Mott, zone in on me maybe, as soon as I saw at the top, the Grower Champagne, given the timing, you guys are emailing me like 50 at a time every day about doing a champagne episode because you've got to ship it before the holidays. I get it, so I'm going to come through, 2 birds, 1 stone, and we're going to do growing champagne. And I'm here with my man Sean. Appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're going to go through the 3 champagnes that he selected for this group and go into them and talk about grower champagne. I think it is time, America. Please, I'm begging you. It is time to stop drinking straight junk champagne. And if you don't think that you're getting tricked, you've got it all twisted. Because Moet and Clicquot and all that jazz, PJ with the flowers on the bottle, we're tricking you. You're drinking the Gallo of champagne, and there's serious stuff coming out of champagne. I mean, if you really roll with serious wine people, at the end of the day, I probably like champagne more than anything else. If I had a really, I love the desert island question, which I have to answer 13 times a day, so I appreciate all the emails. It's always going to be the sparkling, the bubbles. There's an enormous amount of complexity. I actually love the serious red wine cult drinkers that poo-poo on champagne. I drink Camus. My wife drinks champagne. Buddy, she's much smarter and cooler than you. Wake up. So, I'm pumped about the bubbles, as you guys can tell, and let's get into the first wine. Sean, tell me what we're rolling with. It's pointed to the camera.
Gaston Chiquet, Blanc de Blanc. All 3 are Blanc de Blancs, actually. So 100% Chardonnay.
So the Blanc de Blancs, are 100% Chards. You sometimes see the Blanc de Noirs, which are Pinot Noir-based champagnes. So this is, now these are the way you would do the groups. Do you do them in the flutes, or do you do them in regular glass?
We do them in the flutes.
And now is that little there, is that the glass taste? How does that roll?
This is actually right about the taste.
So this is the taste level, and
right
glass would go right there. So so you can go glass, taste, and bottle. This is really cool. Honestly, if you live in anywhere in Manhattan, heck, if you live in Brooklyn, if you live in Omaha, if you live in Alaska, get your ass down here. This is a great spot. Problem is these guys are really cool. Like, actually, I really don't belong here. This is a much more trendy and cooler spot than my cool level. I mean, how many people can you allow into this spot? It's pretty tight.
38, 40?
Yeah, that's where you push
Tops.
it? It must be tight.
40 is like,
Yeah. So I'm sure that's how they roll almost every night here. So if you're cool and you look, like that, and you roll that way, you need to get down here. So let's get into this. What made you so excited about this?
I love how here, wines by the glass. I love that Blanc de Blancs are just very accessible. They're light, they're refreshing, they get the palate going. So I thought the 3 of these were exceptional examples of Blanc de Blancs.
How many Blanc de Blancs do you think you went through to narrow it down to these 3 levels?
It's tough.
Did you do it in one shot, or did you do it over time?
We rotate, actually.
How
so
often?
if you come in 2 weeks from now, maybe a different set of Blanc de Blancs.
Really?
The only mainstay has been the Pierre Peters. Otherwise,
which I think we've done on WLTV, and I think people, if you know me, know what I think about this producer.
But there are many Blanc de Blancs out there that are really high quality.
So tell me about the Chicot. What really brought you? Want to taste along with me? I mean, I feel like
I think this is like it's really light, incredibly like structure.
Now, what I love about this on the sniffy sniff level is that you're getting like almond shells, which I love so much with Blanc de Blancs. Hey, join in. I mean, they want you to drink. Trust me, I'm sure of it. I'm also getting really pretty vanilla kind of components, and you know what I'm loving from here is almost a hint of like back-end coconut peel, which is subtle on the nose, which I think is really spectacular. Let's give it a whirl. It's hard for me to spit champagne.
It's hard to spit champagne, period.
It really just is hard to
yeah.
spit champagne.
But the way it leaves your mouth, you want another sip. You want an oyster, you want caviar, you want you know.
Kumamoto is just rolling through my head like left and right now. This is extremely silky. The creaminess factor on this champagne is extraordinary. It completely coats my palate. It's almost got a viscous component, just a heaviness to this Blanc de Blanc that you don't see. Again, this is the difference. The roundness of the apple peel, the lemon zest on the mid palate is so much greater and more profound than you're going to see in your standard non-vintage champagnes that we're all buying in America. Those wines tend to be a little bit, more off balance and acidic. The balance here of the acidity and the fruit and the creaminess and the structure and the back end finish is just on a different planet. This is extremely good.
And when the bubbles disappear over your tongue, the texture of them is just like...
No question. I mean, this Gaston is an extremely fine example. To me, this is rolling in as an easy 90-point type champagne. If you have the pleasure of finding this, please write these down. I mean, hopefully the next two will come through hard, but this is a producer I'm less familiar with than the next two, and I've got to tell you, we're off to a serious start, so let's move on.
Pierre Peters, Blanc de Blanc.
Now, to give you an example, on the taste level, the first wine was 11, and this is 12, and the last is 10. Tell me what you think about Peters and what
For me, and it's for me only, I think Pierre Peters is kind of a benchmark for Blanc de Blanc.
Sure.
When I look for a Blanc de Blanc, it's got to measure up to this.
Over the last 24 to 36 months, P Squared has gotten a lot of play on the internets, so it has actually become more of a brand in the champagne world. About 3 or 4 years ago, when we were first kind of finding it ourselves at WL, we were just shocked how good it was and how little we knew about it. Then RP down in Maryland, our favorite lawyer who reviews wines, kind of blabbed about it on his website, and it's definitely become a more standard brand that people have attached to. What I like about that is I do believe all the Vaniacs and the millions and millions of you are going to be able to find this wine a little bit easier. Let's see what's going on here. Now, right off the bat, there's a little bit more goldenness to the color, almost like the beautiful locks of Dusty Rhodes 1983 NWA wrestling, that kind of style. So you like that, right? Let's give it a little bit of a snippy snip. Now, this is a little bit a totally different experience on the nose. This is much more mineral driven. It's actually Ocean X. It smells like, you drank a little too much champagne and you woke up by the beach.
Yeah, seashells.
That's what's really coming through more than anything else. There's also a little hint, almost perfume style. So it's really like seashells and then like kind of walking through Bergdorf's, So kind of interesting. Let's give it a whirl. Toasty, like toast, like right?
Toast.
Yeah, like almost like cinnamon toast crunch, in a way. Very much like toasted bread, which I love. You get the yeastiness, which is always exceptional. Very clean, little hint of star fruit on the mid palate, which I'm really enjoying, and it really coats your entire palate. I mean, really, what stinks about this right now is I'd love to have 1 or 2 bottles of sparkling wine, champagne, from standard stuff, and I think I'll roll that way next week and do a tasting with some of the more standard brands alongside, because when you deal with producers like this is going to come off a little bit rave reviewy, but this is really also quite good. It's a little bit more towards my palate. I actually like this style a little bit more. On a recommendation level, I'd probably recommend the first wine to more people because I feel that this stylistically is a more popular style champagne.
Very accessible.
Right? Mm-hmm. This is much more of a very unique style. The breadiness is obnoxious. Sasha Vaynerchuk, my pops, who you all love now more than me, this man needs to drink this wine, because my dad kind of makes it uncomfortable when we go to restaurants because he eats so much bread that it almost attracts the other patrons to watch him. He's like a freak show circus clown because he eats like 30 pieces of bread. I'm serious. He freaks people out. He eats like immediately we sit down, he goes, "Where's the bread?" He scares the crap out of him with that Russian accent. You know what I'm talking about. You saw the episode. And then he eats it all and he's like, "Where's the bread?" I mean, it's pretty scary. So,
this is like bread crust, though. It's
right?
That specific.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely not like the middle of white bread.
Yeah.
And there's a serious level of apples coming on in here. For me, this is a 91 plus point champagne. I'm really feeling it. Again, though, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. This is apples and bread. Pretty strict, real high levels of acid on this. This, I think, is the kind of champagne that I would go and venture into other foods, heavier foods, because I think it brings enough shoulders, enough thunder to compete against food. So, that was good.
Awesome.
No wonder it's the standard. Let's move on.
Jean Milan Blanc de Blanc.
Now this is an interesting Blanc de Blanc. Now what gets weird about champagne and what freaks everybody else is, like, for example, ratings are obviously very important. You know, we pee on them, but, you know, even though I rate, I'm a ridiculous hypocrite, but I like scores. I'm a sports guy, so don't hate me. But that being said, non-vintage wines are tricky because they do change, but because the vintage doesn't change, people don't really know where you're at. So for example, Wine Spectator could rate a non-vintage wine like a Jean Milan 90 points, and then for like 3 or 4 years not rate it, but the wine has been evolving. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, out of all the producers that I love in grower champagne, Jean Milan's been the one that I've kind of bounced around with. You know, like there's like 2 or 3 years ago I really loved it. Then about 18 months ago, maybe even last season's, I was kind of soft on. I don't even know if this is still part of that same batch. We're about to find out. But it's been the one that's kind of, you know, seesawed on me. So let's see what's going on here. What do you think about this producer and your experiences in the past?
I think it's big structure, and you hit on something earlier with the Pierre Peters. You can carry this into a meal.
Sure.
So this can go way deep into a meal. I think this wine can, with the structure.
Really classic nose.
I had this with sushi recently, and the riciness of the rice on the sushi complemented this in Toro
Perfectly.
incredibly well.
I want some sea urchin so bad right now. I don't know, just all about it. You know, again, kind of acting a little bit similar to the last wine in its, you know, it is mineral driven. It is also a little bit driven by the yeast flavors on the nose. A little bready. Let's give it a whirl. For me, this is the most tropical of the bunch.
Definitely.
Right? I mean, this is extremely pineapple juice on the back end. Hints of mango. I like it. It's very tropical. Again, definitely clearly a higher residual sugar than the last two. I mean, this is the ladies' champagnes, as the dudes talk, like, give her that, you know, kind of thing. But yes, it is clearly something that is a little bit high. Almost tastes like some like that new wave Starburst fruit, you know, like that kind of flavor. For me, maybe a little too sugary, a little too fruity. To me, this is good. Not on my palate, my style, but don't forget, who gives a crap about my palate? You've got to embrace your palate. I'm not looking to be the new guy that people listen to. You need to accept and try different things. The only thing I beg you is this holiday season, when you pop into the year 2008, that's ridiculous, by the way. It was like 2000, like 45 seconds ago. When you pop in 2008, that you don't do it. Just promise me this, or we'll stop the Thunder Show. We're going to spy on you through your computers. No Dom, no Cristal, no Clicquot, no Moet. What else do you want to throw in there? Perrier-Jouet, Piper Heidsieck, even Laurent Perrier, I think, tries to act grower, but it isn't. I mean, try something new. Hopefully the wine shops around you and around the country are going to carry grower champagnes. To me, this is an 89, 88 point champagne, but let me promise you something. On my internal scale, all the brands that I just mentioned, I mean, we're talking about 84, 82, 79, 76 type champagnes. We're being fed marketing all the way. Open up Vogue this month. Pay attention to who's advertising. It's not grower champagnes. It's Moet. And so understand where we are. We're America. We're marketing is king. And there's so much great stuff out there. And these are 3 great examples, really zoning in on the middle for me. What about for you? Honestly, what's your favorite one of this bunch?
Again, Pierre Peters is
Yeah, for me too.
elegance, balance.
It's a serious, sparkling champagne. We do a question of the day that we ask all the Maniacs. I'm going to let you ask it. I know, on the spot. I didn't even tell you. So, what do you want to ask the Vayner Nation?
I want to ask the Vayner Nation your favorite Syrah.
What is your favorite Syrah? Because you, with a little bit of me, and guys like this, and places like this, please come down here. Twitter me up. I'll meet you here. We're changing the wine.